Well, hello there people, welcome back to my channel once again, and in today's video I wanted to show you my new cool tool from Lisle, which is an American tool manufacturer, and this is their coolant bleeding tool, which is somewhat of a necessity if you're dealing with Japanese cars or cars that have a radiator of the old type that sits as the lowest point, and they have a radiator cap with a pressure release valve like this. What is often the case with these is that the radiator is the lowest point of the cooling system, and that means that there might be another part of the cooling system that sits higher, and the air in the system when replacing coolant will be trapped inside the highest point of the cooling system. And that is the point with this cooling bleeder tool here, to raise the highest point of the cooling system so that the trapped air inside will travel through the system and it will be released through the opening here in the radiator and come out into this funnel here. So that is basically the theory, and it works perfectly. I have now replaced the coolant 2 times. I flushed through the system and just got all the crap out. And yeah, I'm just super happy with this tool. So I wanted to show you at least the parts number for the tool and the parts that come with the kit, and also maybe just go quickly through the process of how to do a coolant replacement on this Lancer here. And here people, you have the parts number, and it is 24680, and they call it a SpillFree funnel. And the reason for that is because of this guy in the middle here. This is a blocking tool for when you are done replacing the coolant and doing the bleeding procedure. You might have some coolant left in this funnel here, and then you just stick this tool down in the bottom here and it blocks off the outlet here, making you able to remove this funnel and putting all the excess coolant back into your container without spilling any coolant into and over your lovely engine bay. With that said, you should have a rag ready here, because some coolant will spill out of this lower part of the funnel because the blocking tool does not go all the way to the bottom. The next important thing that you actually should do before fitting this is to choose the right adapter. And as you can see, it comes with a variety of adapters here, so it's all about just choosing the right one for your radiator. And what is important is that the adapter should stick above the edge of the radiator, so when you are putting this screw cap on, the center piece will be sitting tight down there. What it should not look like is like this. You can see this adapter does not protrude up like this. It sits down like that. So when you then put your screw cap on, it's not even remotely tight. So you just have to find the right one for your car. So then you are ready to do the job, replacing the coolant. On this Lancer Evo here, you have 2 drain plugs on the cooling system. One is up front in the radiator, and the drain plug in the radiator is there. So you just loosen that one and it will drain out there. And the other drain plug is in the back of the engine block, facing the firewall, just above the transfer case. And the drain plug in the engine block is above the transfer case, onto back there somewhere, but to be honest, I couldn't be bothered doing that. That drain plug is kind of hard to get to, so you can get away with just draining the radiator, but then you have to do the job at least 2 times, and maybe even 3 times, to replace all the coolant in the whole system. That is the way I did it. I couldn't be bothered removing the plug in the engine block. So how you go on about that is basically drain the radiator all the way till nothing drips out, put the drain plug back in, then you fill up with your coolant of choice. Yeah, buddy, fill her up. mixed 50-50, maybe even use distilled water. At first, I used this coolant. It's the Peak Global. It's a yellow coolant, and you can mix this with any coolant out there. I've also used this coolant, which is Extreme G48. It's a green coolant, or at least supposedly green, but to be honest, it looks very blue to me. This is the spec that I filled it up with now. Fill it up, we'll see bubbles and stuff coming out of the system as you put the coolant on. And there's no more bubbles. Then you start the engine and you put the heater on full blast, full heat, and you go through the heat cycle. And then you wait for the cooling fan to kick in. The cooling fan kicked in and there's no more bubbles. Because when that kicks in, that means that the thermostat most likely have opened and you have water going through the system and everything is like running as it should. And when you then see no bubbles coming out, the system is basically bled. Then you can stop the engine and you basically wait till the temperature goes back to normal. That is the best thing to do. And then comes the cool thing that I just showed you. You use your blocking tool, put that in, take it out, put the excess back into your container, and you are left with this one, and you can use a syringe to suck out the excess coolant that is down there, if there is any. If there is no excess coolant, fill up the level to where it comes up to that lower hole there. Put your radiator cap back on, and you will always have to make your riding face the correct way, which is the proper nerdy way of doing it. So in my world, putting it on like that is just plain wrong. Yeah, how it's supposed to be, right there. Also remember to drain out your overflow reservoir and put in your new mixed coolant. Make sure it stays between minimum and maximum level. So then you have successfully replaced the coolant on my Lancer Evo in this case. I hope that there was some useful info. So thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.